Greetings, this is Aisha Esther, and I'm going to explain to you today about the Lenormand learning deck that I just received in the mail. I'm very excited about. It is a learning deck, so there are some descriptors on these cards that will explain a little bit clearer on what we're looking at. So I'm just going to launch in. The first one is Rider. Now, as we know with the Lenormand deck, it is sort of like an oracle fortune-telling approach rather than the tarot, which is more perhaps intuitively inclined. Some say where you can expand more on the metaphorical indicators of what the card means in a tarot deck. But the Lenormand deck is totally different. It tends to be a faster type of reading and more reactive in terms of exactly what you see. The cards, you state what it is. There are usual more structural frameworks on these cards than in the tarot that can be lending out more to the personal interpretation of the reader in amongst the working with the client or the querent in question. This is the same thing. You're working with your querent or your client, but it's more rapid, fast-paced, calling out of quicker descriptors, especially if you're bound for time. These can be very handy. And the deck can be laid out in different ways. It's usually more linearly inclined, and there are house cards that you can lay underneath that represents sometimes the astronomical features of the houses, or each lay of the house represents a location or a descriptor, again, a description of what that house would mean. And then whereupon you lay the card on top, for example, then that would be what your current situation is in terms of what is influencing you. So the houses are the influencers and the card on top are what is going on. So that can also be another way of reading. And of course, if you go the full scale of the amplitude of that type of reading, you have what's called a grand tableau. And that is various cards outlaying a very more cohesive, in-depth reading that you can have. But right now, I'm just going to go through these cards in particular. The author of this card and creator is Alexandre, spelled R-E, Musruck, and I will put this in the description below for the card name of the creator. He was very good at citing different areas of the card that a reader should note. And I like this about this deck, although it might seem a little monochromatic or one-dimensional, not much for, you know, the artwork, but it's not meant to be that way. It's a learning deck. So it's for the benefit of the reader to hone in and cue themselves as to different ways to read each card. So this is how I will explain this without the instructions and what I'm picking up. I believe he can send a PDF with the purchase of the card. I went to his particular site, his website, and got this information when I was surfing. So here is the first card. It's a rider. What the card indicates is the suit of the normal modern playing deck, which is a 9 of hearts in this case. What the aspect of the card is, whether it's a positive card, a negative card, or a neutral card. This is what this symbol is. He also mentions a time, which is really cool. That indicates, you know, in terms of chronology, whether it's going to be a quick time element involved in the aspect of the card or long or midterm. Could be weeks, indicating chronology. It could be months or years, depending on the card. So, for example, this one is a rider. It's usually stock in a Lenormand deck. You will have some sort of rider expressed on the card, and with the rider, it usually means the speed, or it's fast moving, important news, new projects, new acquaintances, a short pleasant trip. So you can read it in all these different ways. In this particular learning deck, he mentions that the rider brings in good news and pleasant visitors if there are no negative cards surrounding it, like, for example, a cloud, if it's near this type of card. So our next card is Clover. And this one, is depicted with the modern plain deck number 6 diamonds. We have, this is a soon chronology. We have this as a positive card, which shown by the check mark. And again, here is the flower, the clover. It tends with these symbols to give the reader very quick heads up that it's a good luck card, it's a fate card, and usually means, with the clover, we have good luck, profit, like a great joy coming into one's life, pleasant surprise, or an interesting set of circumstances is how I read it. So that's pretty cool too. And I'm only going to go through some of these cards, and then again, I'm going to post this guy's information below. So I think this was a really cool way for people, for introductory Lenormand, to get acquainted with how to approach a Lenormand reading. This is a ship. As you can see, it shows a neutral-based type of card. The traditional deck is indicated as a 10 of spades. We have this indicating by journey by the plane, or journey by a car, what have you. It just means a modality of travel. It usually means for a ship that you're going to be going on some sort of trip. Could be for business or love purposes, relationship. It could be long distance. It could indicate large winnings. It depends on what cards are around it. And it could also indicate, in a negative note, depending on the cards around it, risky ventures, or maybe an end of a period of negative surroundings on that querent. It could be emotional ones, which could be their period of end of a period of failure, which could be a good thing actually for someone. So even a negative reading could be for a purpose, right? So then we have another one, which is a neutral-based card, as indicated by the circle. The traditional deck is the King of Hearts. And this is a health card, I take it, as well. We have a short period of time. Well, it could be also medium. It depends. Like, it's indicating this chronologically as 4 days, 4 weeks, or months. And usually for house, you have the comfort of home and family, traditions, success in terms of purchasing power. It depends on what you have surrounding this. It's property, living together with someone, again, depending on the querent's question, and privacy as well. So this is, you see the family emblem here. So it's pretty good. This is a nice card to have expressed in the reading. And again, we have another neutral-based card. This is definitely a health card because of the roots, right? Tree. It's 7 in the suit of cards. We have the health as shown by our stethoscope here, so it's pretty cool as a flag for someone. And also the Hippocratic symbol right here of the snake surrounding the staff here. And this is health, growth, and ancestry as well, like roots, like tradition, right? Family tradition. It could indicate as well health and strength and vitality, business success, helping others, if you have strong foundational roots. It could also mean in a negative way, depending on if you have any negative influence cards around you. It could indicate loneliness or lack of friends, family, partners. That would be the negative side of the card. But overall, it's a good card to have. And I will show you one of the negative cards and how it's expressed. These are the infamous cloud card or clouds. Very simply stated, showing the clouds. Negative card. We have the traditional King of Clovers. Here is what's indicating, cyclone effect. Be careful. Cautionary card. Chronology is autumn. So here they've indicated it seasonally. And this is indicated as confusion, sadness, uncertainty. When the clouds appear, stop doing what you are doing as you are lacking clarity. And this is how this card is expressed. So really cool the way you can learn from these cards. And that's basically it for today. We have the rest of these cards shown, which are pretty interesting. And thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time with my next deck. Take care. Bye-bye.